Okay, so I'm just going to go through basically designing an album for a client. I use Collages, the event sites for my clients to go through and pick their favorites for their albums. And you can see up here I've pulled Katrina and Chris were a couple I had this past fall, and they have chosen their images, and I have downloaded them from their event site folder, and I've put them on my desktop just so it's easy for us to see here in the webinar. Normally I would put it in my weddings folder inside of my, all my other folders. But anyway, so all I've done is I've clicked here and I've opened the software. When you open, it will automatically kind of prompt you if there's any updates that need to be installed for your software. So when you do that, you can just add those. And I'm going to create a new project. I'm going to click right here. And they have ordered a flush mat album, so I'm going to click and I'm going to choose my album and hit next. And they are choosing a photographic cover. And then after you go here, then you'll be able to choose all the size that your client has ordered. And they have purchased a 10 by 10, so I'm just going to scroll down until I see the 10 by 10 photographic. Click there, and then I'm going to click next. Super easy. And so here it's going to prompt you to choose your photos, and you can choose individual pictures or an entire folder. I would definitely, I always do folders, so much easier. I'm going to add my folder containing my images. You just locate your folder and hit select, and it will pull all of those pictures in for you. Now, sometimes my clients get a little picture happy, which is great because it means they really like their photos. I prompt them to pick 50 to 60 images, but sometimes they go a little overboard, and Katrina has obviously really liked her photos. She's chosen a lot, so we'll have to kind of work around that. All right, so I'm going to click next, and then you're going to enter a project name. I always just name it my bride and groom. If they get multiple albums, like if they order for their parents, I would just put like Katrina parents, Chris parents, so I could keep those separate. And now here we are. The software's opened up. You can see all of my images here that my client has chosen. They're all listed there. This is the cover, and you can see all of your layouts up at the top. My client has chosen to have actually a 30-page album, so if you wanted to add more pages, all you have to do, I'm going to move this a little bit, all you have to do is click on Insert, Page and Insert. And you can just, if you're on a Mac, you can just hit Command-I. And I would recommend, if you know your client has chosen more layouts, I would just go ahead and fill them all in. And you can just keep doing Command-I until you have the appropriate number. So now I have 30. And then the very cool thing about the new software that I really love is the AutoFlow. So you can click on AutoFlow right here, and what it's going to do is it's going to basically start your design for you, and it's going to put all of your images in. So I'm going to do it by picture order because usually, hopefully, my images are in the correct order, and so they'll be chronological when you put them in the book. So I'm going to do picture order. And you can see up at the top that the design software is basically designing your album. Very, very cool. Now you can see some pages are very, maybe a little too crowded for my taste, and it's because Katrina has chosen a lot of photos, but we can come in here and delete some and rearrange them, and I'm going to show you that in just a second. For the cover, they've chosen a photographic cover, so the right side will be the front, and the left side will be the back. So I'm going to just scroll through my photos here and try to find an image where my couple is pushed more to the right. Maybe like this one here. And then I'm just going to drag and drop it onto the screen. And you can click in the yellow box here because you want to delete all of that text because we don't want that on the book. And then with your image here, all you have to do is right-click and we're going to click Fit to Page. And it will spread the image all the way across. You could do one image on one side and another image on the back. So you can do lots of different options. But you can see they're not really cropped quite correctly. They're really far to the bottom. So all you have to do is double-click on the image, and it will pull up your cropping window, and then you can slide. And I can even push it in a little bit more so they're not so close to the spine. And then when I click OK, there we go. Super easy. At the top, you just click on the layout. You can skip around to see the layout that you want to work on. So I'm going to click on page 1. And maybe she picked this picture, maybe it's not the greatest. You could click on it and just hit delete. And then you can actually stretch and rearrange the layout how you like. Or you can come down here, and in the page styles, this is what I love about the new software. I love having both page spread layouts pre-done for you. It's so easy. And you can just come down here and maybe click on a layout that you really love. Maybe I don't want it quite so busy because there's like a lot of little pictures. And I really love this photo here, and I know it's a horizontal, so I'm going to look at the bottom for a layout that will look good with a horizontal or a large horizontal. Maybe this one here. And then all you have to do is click on it and drag, and it will automatically redesign that page. Now, it's just dropping the pictures in there. You can come back up here, and you can see now I've lost some of those pictures because the layout that I've just chosen has fewer areas for photos. And you can tell when a photo is in your album by having this little red circle with a number beside it. So if I drop, you can just drag and drop your images into your template, and you just drag and drop it where you want it. This is not where I'd put this picture, but for an example. So now I have a 2 next to the shoe, and that lets me know that this picture now is in this album twice somewhere. Which is probably something you don't want to do unless you're using a picture as a background where it's not so noticeable. But all you have to do is click on your photo and drop it in. Maybe I'm just going to pick a lot of her, her dress there. Do a lot of her little details. And if you want to recrop, all you have to do is double-click on the photo. I'll do it again. Just double-click, and it will open up your cropping window, and you can rearrange that. Just double-clicking, and then rearranging, and you can zoom in by just grabbing this little gray square in the bottom right corner to come in and out. And then it does it for you. You can also do layouts by one page or the other. So in the page styles here at the bottom, if you keep scrolling to the right, you'll see individual page layouts. So you could, so maybe I really love this layout, and I don't want to change that, but I wanted to, maybe change some of these things over here. I could just grab one of the individual page layouts and drag and drop. I'm kind of like, I like my things to look even all the way across. Like I try to keep them not too different, so maybe I'm a little too anal for that. But anyway, so here we go, and now we have just changed one side. And again, you could rearrange and change these photos. Like I don't know that this photo really goes well with this one. And maybe I might like to do something like this. This bride was really excited when she got into her dress. She'd been dieting quite a lot, I heard. And then if you do want to change the other side, again, you can just grab an individual and drop it in. If you do a design that you particularly love, well, let me show you this first. So say you love this, but you wanted to add another photo to it. You can actually just click, and if you hold Shift, you can click more than one photo, and you can rearrange them. And then say if I wanted another photo underneath here, so I could actually just drag a photo onto the template, and it just drops the picture in. And then I can stretch and rearrange the layout how I like. I can double click so that I can recrop. Maybe I just wanted the bow there. And if you loved this layout, say I love this layout and I want to keep it forever, you can actually just save this layout. And all you have to do is come to the bottom where your page styles here at the bottom, just click on the settings, and you can save the right side, the left side, or the entire spread. So I'm going to save the entire spread, and it's going to ask for a name. I'm just going to name it Sample for today. Or you can name it by page number. If you design books that look similar, or you love to start with a certain spread and end with a certain spread, you can name it page 1 or end page, things like that. And just click OK. And then what will happen is it will actually save it to the very end of your page style. You can see I have one already here. Another thing to be aware of is what you see around here, especially when you have a picture that's going to fill the entire page. You'll see the red line here, and then you see the actual edge of the book where the blue line goes all the way around. You want to keep any important elements within the red line, because anything outside of the red line could be trimmed off in production. So always make sure that the head's not too close to the top, and you're going to cut off something that's important for you to keep in your image. All right, I'm going to show you how to, I'm going to delete these photos here, and I'm going to show you how to have a photo that carries all the way across your album design. Because I love to have, especially if I'm doing a 30 or a 40-page book, which is 15 spreads or more, I love to have several layouts in there where it's just one full image all the way across. It gives the viewer who's looking at the book a good place to kind of rest their eye, and it's kind of a nice wow factor. So I'm actually going to click on the photo that I want to fill the entire spread. I'm going to click, and you see if I put it on one side, that I get that blue highlight on this side. Or if I put it over here, then the blue highlight is on the right. And you could just drop it, and you could fit to page, and you can see how it lands in there. And then again, double click, and you could recrop, and you could add things to this side. But if you wanted to have it go all the way across, you can just click, and I'm going to delete that image. I'm going to click here, and instead of leaving it on the side, I'm actually going to carry it all the way to, well, I guess that doesn't much matter. You just right-click, and you're going to go fit to spread. Easy. And again, remember the trim lines here. Always think about your gutter, which is right down the middle. So you wouldn't want like their face right in the middle. Again, I'm going to double-click. The gutter is so small, though, honestly, that I don't mind if, if part of her were to go through it, because really the gutter is tiny and almost not even noticeable. But I wouldn't put a face through it. So that's how you do that. Super, super easy. Let me show you some of these tools over here as well. If you click on your image, you'll see that you have all these options on the right side. If you're designing your own layout, the ruler is a great tool. So say if you wanted to add another set of these 3, so you had 6, you can right-click and you can actually copy and then right-click in the page and you can just hit paste. And you see that it just throws it over there to the right. But if we wanted to line it up, I'm going to hold Shift and click all of these. And then I'm going to move them down. And say I want this one here, but I need it to line up. It's hard to line it up just with your mouse. But if you click here and you've clicked on your ruler, you can actually see the position that your photo is on. And you could line that position up here as well. So I'm going to line up this side. I can look here and I see the X. And I don't think that it lets you copy the number. If it does, Kevin, I haven't found a way to do that. So I just kind of have to remember, just like repeat it in my head. So it was 682692. Hit enter, so it applies it. It won't apply it until you hit enter. And now you can see that they're lined up. Also, you'll notice that all of the pictures have these borders around them. I assume that's the default in the software, because all of the albums, when you start them, that's what they have. If you didn't want to have the borders, you can actually come click over here to the little red rectangle and the green circle, and you'll see your borders here. You could change the color of your borders. You could change the size of your border. So if you wanted a bigger border, or if you didn't want a border at all, you can just click the box and it would go away completely. You can also add a drop shadow. Just click here to add your drop shadow. The defaults that are set in there are nice, but again, you can manipulate those how you like, and also change the opacity. You can also change the opacity of your images if you wanted to, like maybe here. If I was going to do a full page, a full spread with a photo, but maybe I wanted to drop a couple of extra photos on top here, I can just drag and drop my pictures. Oops. You can just hit Command Z if you need to go back. Let's see. Oh, I can tell you a better way to do this. We'll go into backgrounds. So if you want to add a picture as a background, Collages is already, when you download your software, and you have all of these backgrounds already in there. But you can actually add backgrounds yourself. And all you have to do is the same way like you would save your page layout. You just click here on the settings and go to Add. And you could choose your background images here. And you can choose more than one at a time. You can just hold Command if you're using a Mac. Find this photo. Hit Add. And again, just like in the page styles, it's going to drop them at the very end to the right, and you can see here that they've added those in. So I'm going to delete this photo actually. And I'm going to drag my background onto the layout. Now, if I hold it right over the gutter, you'll see that the blue line goes all the way around the entire book. If I hold it to the side, it only does one side or the other. But if you want it to cross over, you can just hold it over the gutter and let go. And again, you can double click, recrop. I don't want her to go close to the gutter. Hit OK. And I can also come over here and affect my opacity if I want to. Maybe I want to pull that down just a little bit. And then I could come back into my page styles, maybe drag a layout to put over here. Ooh, I want that to. And these are images right after their first look, so if I wanted to kind of pick images that fit this, or if you wanted to do a series of the couple. But again, if you do this, I feel like it gets way too busy to have a full, like 100% opacity on every image when they're overlaid. So I would click on the background image and down the opacity, so that those images here on the left kind of pop out a little bit more and everything's a lot more visible. Another cool thing that in the new software is that you can actually reorder your pages. So if you wanted to, like maybe you designed a page and you realized you did it on the wrong page and you need to move it within the book, it's super easy. All you do is go to Page, Rearrange Pages, and you can see them all here. And you can just click and actually move them around. And then you would just hit OK. Not that I would put that one in that order, but and you can see that the book will rearrange that for you. Also, if you say your client loves the album and they've ordered a 10 by 10, but they've decided all of a sudden that they want a bigger album and you want to change your product, you can still do that even after you've done your design. So you just come up here and click on Change Product. And it will open that up for you, and you could choose, say they decided they're going to upgrade to the 12 by 12. I can click there and hit Change. And none of these layouts should change because the ratio is the same, because it was square and it's still square. You could actually change it even more to a horizontal. But then it may affect your layouts, and you may have to go back in and readjust your layouts or readjust your cropping because now the book is much more horizontal. And you can see that as you click through. So you may have to go through and rearrange some of those things. Okay, so let's say that we've designed our book and we love it and we're done and we want to create a proof. All you have to do is come up to File and click Create Proof. And this is, the proofs are what your client will see so that they can approve the design. Click OK. I'm just going to click a destination. I usually just throw mine on my desktop because it's easy for me to find an email. It'll name it Proofs plus whatever you titled the album as you created it. So I'm going to click Save, and then OK. And it's going to generate proofs at 72 dpi, so they're small files, and they're easy to email, so you don't have to really do anything except compress the folder, so you can send it all at once. We'll just wait a second, let this generate the proofs, and I'll show you how to compress your folder.
Catherine, one thing or one question I'm getting a lot while we're waiting for this to export or create the proof, getting a couple questions about how to start your album on the right-hand side. Right now, we don't have a current option to do that, but a workaround for that right now that our production team is asking all of our customers to do is if you do want to start on the right-hand side, you definitely can do that. All you have to do is leave the left-hand page blank, or the very first page blank, and write "Do not print" in capital letters using the text box. This way, when it comes through to production knows they don't want to print anything there, and it will be a black page instead of a full spread.
Cool. So you can see here now that it has exported the proofs. I've just opened the proof folder so you can see what they look like in here. And you can see that they're smaller files. You can see the file size here. And proof is written all over them so that your client can upload these to Facebook or take them to another, I don't know, to some other album company to have them printed. So all you have to do, if you're on a Mac, all you have to do is click on your proofs folder, just right-click on it, and we're going to compress. And it automatically makes a zip file, and the zip file is what I would email to my client. And I feel pretty good about that, Kevin. It's so easy. It's like it's hard to even find things to talk about with it. Yeah. So at this point, I would be done. I would wait for an email back from my client. I send them an email with the proofs, asking them to review it, asking them for any changes they would like made. And then once I get that email back, I would make any changes. I would do the proofs again and send them another copy of the proofs. And I proof the entire album every time for a client, because I feel like if you just do the pages that you change, that sometimes people can't remember what they look like, and it might be confusing as to what the entire book is going to look like finished. So I always proof the entire book every time I make a change until we get it situated. And then you can actually, once they've approved it, then you can upload it to Collages. And all I've done is I've done a file and then order. It will check it. It'll give you any kind of, if you have anything you need to pay attention to or errors, it'll show you that. I'm not going to order this today, but I'm just going to hit continue, and then it would, you'd save. Oh, let me show you how to save. If I can get out of this. And then it would start uploading them to Collages. To save your project, I'm just went to open existing, clicked, hit open. All you have to do is once you uploaded my pictures, hold on. I save my project probably every 15 minutes that I'm working on it, and I can probably design an entire album in about an hour. Maybe less with the AutoFlow, it's a lot faster. But all you have to do is go to File and Save, and that's all you have to do because you've already named your folder when you created the album, so you don't have to type anything in or anything like that. So you just go to File and Save, and then you can close your project, and it will bring you back to the screen. Or you could start another one, or you could open an existing if you had multiple albums open like I do here, so you could work on another album at that time. Do you have any questions, Kevin? That's basically the process. Very
we have
easy.
a couple questions about how many revisions you give your customers when you send the initial design.
I tell them that they can make up to 10 changes at no additional cost. So that means literally like 10 individual changes, not 10 spreads. So they could switch out a picture, or they could change a background, and those would be individual changes. After that, I charge $30 per spread that's altered. But honestly, people usually only switch out 1 or 2 photos. And I think that's because I build off of the folder that they make in the event site. I used to make a lot more changes when I would just kind of pick a lot of the photos, or I would do the design and send it to them, and they never had that option to choose their images. So I like to do it this way, because then I actually spend less time working on the book.
Okay, awesome. One thing that I want to touch on with the cover, I know that for time purposes, you may have seen on Catherine's cover there was a small exclamation point. That is a message letting you know that the image is too low of resolution for printing. So I do apologize that was in there. The cover does take a little more time to edit and make sure you have the correct size for it. Fortunately, we don't have a lot of time. We are trying to just go through some of the basics just to get just so you guys have a general idea of how to organize and design everything. So I just wanted to touch on that. Another question I'm getting here, Catherine, from Dawn is, how long do you give the customers to choose their images?
To proof the album? I give them probably 2 weeks, because people are busy, and especially if it's a wedding couple, I feel like they come back and they're so, trying to get back into life and work, and so I give them 2 weeks. I just ask them that. I don't, if they take longer, I just let them take longer, but usually they won't. If you give them a deadline, they usually will stick to that.
Okay, excellent. Let me go through a couple other questions here. Just getting a lot of questions about uploading or importing your own backgrounds and creating your own spreads, but we covered that. Let's see here, what else do we have? All right, I think we're